Hey, welcome back to another solar video on the channel. My name is Ivan Pashov, and on this one, we're going to be talking about how to pick the right lead generation partner or lead generation company to work with, not just in 2021, but in general. Okay, so let's get right into the video. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do. First, give it a thumbs up if you like the content of this video, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be putting out loads of content throughout this year that's going to help your sales, lead generation, and the overall ability to succeed in the solar industry. Also, don't forget to download the Solar Sales Black Book. You'll find that in the description box beneath this video. Now, let's get right into it. Okay, the first thing you want to do when you're picking who to work with is you want to check them out, okay? Do they have any online presence? Who owns the company, okay? What are their testimonials? What are people saying? Are those genuine testimonials? Are they made up, okay? Now, ask people around it if they've heard of them at all, right? Sometimes that might not be the right clue, but that's one of the ways. That's one of the ways. And the overall due diligence on the company, right? Sometimes you may find, and that's not always the case though, but sometimes you may find that there's like big companies that have all the resumes you need, right, in order for you to begin working with them. But, 30 days later or less than that, you're disappointed. So I want you to break through the shackles of this getting to work with somebody, getting scammed, getting burned, right? So best way to do that is do your due diligence. And the first thing is check them out online, see if they have any testimonials, see what people say, right? And do they have any case studies, things like that. So that's number one. And number two, what you want to do is you want to ask them industry specific questions. And that's very important because that's going to allow you to understand whether they have a good grasp on the industry, how well informed they are, and do they even know what makes people buy into solar, right? You want to be talking to an industry expert. Like you would go to the doctor and, if your knee needs to get operated on, I guess you wouldn't go to somebody who just, who kind of knows what they're talking about, right? Everything that comes out of that doctor's mouth needs to make absolute 100% sense to you, right? And it's the same thing with every other industry. Now, in this space, though, you want to find out, how well they know their craft, right? So that's number two. Now, number three is you want to ask them if the leads are exclusive. Like, what sort of dynamic are you buying into? Are you buying into just getting a bunch of leads, name, email, phone numbers that don't even have the right intent of buying solar, or you paying a management fee, for example, and then paying ad spend separately? Or you want to find out, basically what are they offering you really, right? Because you don't want to get into something that's ambiguous. You want to find out all the details about, what the lead provider, the lead generation company is offering to you, right? And when you draw the line, you're like, okay, cool. If this works out, it's gonna, it's probably gonna be a big win for us, for you, right? And lead exclusivity for me is very important because I know that my clients don't have to compete with anyone else to get the job done, right? You don't have to be the first on the call, although it helps. You don't have to have the lowest price, right? Although in some cases might help, right? But you don't have to. It's not a race to the bottom, right? And so that's why I think lead exclusivity is very important if you're going to work with somebody to do your lead generation for you. And number four, you want to ask them what are the percentages, like what you should be expecting when you get delivered on those leads, right? How many of those people are going to be falling off? How many people are not going to be interested as a percentage? I know it's a sort of, it can differ from, obviously, from company to company, but you want to ask them the numbers, like you want to ask them what their percentages are, right? It will depend, of course, on how well your team is trained and how well you train if you're the only one calling the leads. But you want to have basic numbers on how those leads work actually, right? And the less ambiguity, the better. You want to make sure you get a crystal clear picture of what you can expect, right? Even though it's not 100% of the times, that it cannot be 100% of the times accurate. But for example, when I speak to a client, I'm pretty spot on as to what my numbers are, right? We know, obviously we have people that are getting very good sit-down rates, meaning very good appointment ratio. We have people that have a little bit less and a little bit less, but I know the numbers, right? And so I'm not afraid to paint a picture to my clients as to what they can expect, because the last thing you want to do is getting to something that sounds too good to be true when in reality is not, right? That's probably going to lead him to my next point, is that if something really does sound too good to be true, it most often turns out to be just that, okay? So when I speak to somebody, I'm almost trying to tell them not to do it. If that's not what they're really thinking about, if they're not in that headspace, if they don't want it bad enough, like, don't do it, because it does require work, right? It's not like I'm gonna deliver on those leads to you, and leads are automatically gonna get turned into deals, right? Without you putting in the work or your team putting in the work. So, but if somebody tries to on the very initial phone call to make it like too good to be true type of deal, I almost call bullshit, and you should too. So anyway, that's my way of doing it. My next point is, how is their strategy different than anyone else? And what do I mean by that is, you've seen a lot of lead generation companies, you've seen a lot of marketers out there, and everyone claims to have the secret sauce, right? To generate good quality leads. They're gonna turn into solar deals, they're gonna make you into a multi-millionaire, right? But the reality is, ask them the specifics of how is their strategy different, and once they explained it to you, make sure it makes absolute total sense and it's something that you feel comfortable moving forward with, right? Because I can tell you the way we generate our leads is we don't just put up an ad that says go solar for $0 down, or get the new Texas incentive, or this, that, and the other, right? So it says we don't mislead people. We just get their attention with something which I call the Godfather offer, right? Or something that is like so unreal, like immediately stops them and gets their attention. Because what we want to do is get their attention first, get them through the door essentially, and sell them later, right? Because everyone and anyone who's a homeowner in this industry has a good credit, 650 or above, lives in a single family home, is potentially pre-qualified to switch to solar. And so what I want to do is I want to go through the process as smooth as I possibly can. You realize that we live in 2021. Things are not the same as they were 5 or even 10 years ago, right? And they're going to continue to change. So most companies out there that are basically offering you lead generation services or marketing services, they haven't evolved from that time, and they rely on a lot of luck, right? What I mean by luck is getting to the right area, because some areas are easier than others to generate leads. That's for sure. But a good marketer would understand how to generate leads in any scenario, any location. Doesn't matter what doesn't matter where that is, pretty much. So you want to ask them what their strategy is. And like I said, for example, our way of generating leads is we get them through the door with an offer. We get them to fill out their information, right? They're basically pre-qualify themselves as being a single family homeowner, right, with a 650 or above credit score, right? That is automatically gets sent to the client, right? And in that way, we know that we've sent a pre-qualified individual that is interested in what my client has to offer. And the last thing I would say is you want to follow your gut feeling, right? Follow your gut feeling, man. Like, how many times your gut has really failed you? At the end of the day, it's not the best way of doing that, but following through a process of doing your due diligence, finding out really good things about the company or the individual who owns the company, then it's all a matter of a gut feeling, whether that seems to be the good decision to make right now, right? And if it doesn't, then obviously don't do it. And if it does, then obviously you wouldn't hurt to try. And to sum up this video on how to pick the right lead generation company or marketer is, to sum it up, you want to make sure you check them up online, right? Basically do an overall sort of due diligence on the company or in the individual. Check out their testimonials, case studies, whatever they have, right? You want to ask them questions that are industry specific. You want to see if the leads are exclusive. You want to find out, what makes their strategies so different, and you want to make sure that you ask them what the percentages are, right? Just make them paint a clear picture as to what you can expect once you guys begin to work together. And last but not least, follow your gut. Your gut, whatever your gut is telling you. I can tell you that my gut has probably never failed me, now that I think about it, that I go back. Every time I felt like there was something sketchy about a deal, it probably ended up being just that, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and download the Solar Sales Black Book for free. You'll find that in the description box. Stay safe, and I'll see you again on the next one.